Andy wants to talk offense. Cam, do you think Mario lets Shannon Dawson drop that Geno Smith West Virginia offense here, or will he force him to do more power run like he obviously wants to?
Andy Mac, that's a great question. I know you sent me an email about something a while. I think I was on here talking about voice acting or something, and Andy sent me an email that I didn't respond to. But I'm going to look at that. I'm going to respond. I know it was like a year and a half ago. I know you thought I forgot, Andy. I didn't, and I appreciate that. And I'm going to correspond with you. So I just want to let you know that in public. And honestly and truly, thank you very much for sharing that information. Getting to the point of the question, there's going to be an integration of power run with a Mario Cristobal offense. Now, hopefully, there are elements of that. So where the question comes from is, I think it was like it wasn't Max Preps because they don't really do college, but it's like ESPN or CFB Home or some social media account tweeted out the other day that that game that Geno Smith had against Baylor that was like 700 yards and 8 touchdowns in the shootout game his last year. And everybody's like, yo, and then Gabby Arudia, intrepid recruiting journalist with 247, started at State of the U, just saying. But he quoted that and said, offensive coordinator, Shannon Dawson. So, just putting perspective on that. So then everybody's like, yo, are we going to do, look, we're not running that same offense that Geno Smith was running at West Virginia. Also, as well, in addition, Geno Smith had, like final call in that offense. So like he could, it could have been called as a run play, and then he could check he had freedom of the full playbook. And Stedman Bailey was still there. I mean, they're best friends forever. So he was just like, look, I know that I can throw the ball, and number 3 is going to be open, and number 3 is going to be there because we've done this since, 5 ever. So he would do some of those things. And whatnot, and kind of skew things towards the pass a little bit. So it's not going to be that. What I do think is that we're going to see elements of that air raid pass scheme integrated. And, air raid systems can produce big plays through the air and on the ground, right? By alignment, right? You're going to hopefully get some guys out of the box, and then you can create some creases. You have all these, big time backs in Miami, and and improving and growing physically offensive line. So there's clearly going to be more integration of a power run game than what was actually. And I'm going to look this up really quick. CFBstats.com. That's the website I usually go to. But if I come down here to West Virginia, way at the bottom. That was, I believe that game was in, nope. Hold on.
I've looked up the box score.
That was 2012?
Yes.
Okay.
Geno put up 35 in the first half, 35 in the second half. Oh, yeah. Stedman Bailey caught 13 balls for 305 and 5 TDs.
Right.
The ball barely hit the ground, 45 of 51.
Yeah, stupid. But I'm looking at the overall statistics, right? So they ran the ball 469 times that year. He threw the ball 532. So you had a 53-47 pass to run ratio. I'll be damned if I don't necessarily have a problem with it, especially if we have the improved, consistent efficiency and improved explosion, because Miami was one of the least explosive teams that we've ever seen from the Miami Hurricanes, like ever last year. But I find it hard to believe that a Mario Cristobal team is going to have, a 53, 54% pass to 47, 46% run overall ratio. I just don't see that. So I do think that it's going to be more, you easily, flip that or more, so like a 47% pass to 53% run or greater on the run. I think, but yeah, I just think that, infusing these schemes and skewing the run not as heavily, but still featured, I think is the way that things are going to go. So it won't be exactly what we saw with that, ridiculous Geno Smith game when he was, super duper on fire. But yeah, and last year, just for context, and I knew because people were going to ask, Miami threw the ball 413 times and ran it 412. So one play away from 50-50. I still think that Cristobal would still like that to be a little heavier on the run overall, but that's just me.
And I don't want to play with the numbers too much here, but that West Virginia team ran just about 1,000 plays, correct? And Miami ran about 830.
Yeah, Miami ran just over 800, and
West Virginia didn't play an extra game because they went to a bowl game. So divided by 13 as opposed to 2 divided by 12.
Right, yeah.
But still, they're running quite a few more plays per game.
Exactly. So, I mean, that speaks to the tempo. That speaks to, a few different things. So yeah.
And for everybody out there, and I hear this all the time, or at least this is where a lot of people's heads seem to be at concerning offensive football, is just the answer to everything is just throw it. If you're going to score a lot of points just because you throw the ball constantly. Well, Geno Smith's still playing in the NFL, and we just read off his 2 main targets. However, it didn't go so well for that West Virginia team. The next 2 weeks, they put up 2 touchdowns each against the likes of Texas Tech and Kansas State, lost 49-14 and 55-14, and they took a rough spill the rest of the season.
Yeah, that was when Geno Smith's Heisman candidacy died. I remember that, and up to that point, I think I was still doing the Miramar sports blog because, I was teaching at Miramar still at the time. And did for several more years, but was doing that in addition to State of the U. And I just remember the 1 week I was just like, I'm going to find all of the Geno Smith content and put it out there. And it did, again, a random unaffiliated blog for a random high school football team in South Florida did numbers because in the Q score of sports personalities on earth, Geno Smith was number 1. You know what I mean? He was the top of every search, the top of every performance, every recap show. I mean, in sport, out of sport. I mean, he's getting mentioned on Good Morning America. I mean, it was stupid. He was larger than life. He was, yeah. And then you cap all of that with, a 600 something yard, 8 touchdown day, where it just, yeah, again, as Mark said, the ball barely hit the turf when you threw it. You know what I mean? It was just insane. And then obviously, yeah, you kind of, as did Icarus, he flew too close to the sun, and then his wings melted and he crashed to the earth. But to that point, man, yeah, it was there. You really couldn't honestly have a college football conversation without, if not starting with, prominently featuring Geno Smith. So, yeah, but things changed.
Yeah, they started 5-0, and by the end, they were losing to Syracuse 38-14 in the Pinstripe Bowl.
Bingo. Oh, no, and sorry, it was the next week when they went to Texas and beat Texas by a field goal. That was the week that he was atop every search and whatever metric across sport. It was wild. But kid has talent. Kid, I mean, he's in his 30s now. Guy, man, has talent, which he's continuing to show.